being vulnerable in an authentic way with a purpose is living, that is me stepping into my power, my destiny of where I'm supposed to be.
So that's an interesting perspective, is that I can say, not great right now, and I don't have to go into it. I feel like that's authentic. That's authentic. You know, not great right now. Zip it.
Oh, isn't that hard though?
Well, it's like, no.
Oh, my favorite sentence ever.
I would do it, but I can't really do it right now because I need to go feed my dog. No. But I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. No is a complete and full sentence.
So it is okay to say no. However, we fear the response or how that's going to make someone else feel.
The analogy that I give is when you go to the grocery store and you're looking for an item. Say I'm looking for crushed breadcrumbs. It's kind of a redundant there. I'm looking for breadcrumbs. So I say to the lady at the counter, I say, where are your breadcrumbs? I say, do you know where your breadcrumbs are? And she says, no. Am I going to hound her? Come on, give me an answer. I know you know. No, what are you going to do? You're going to turn around and ask somebody else. That's what happens. When you say no to somebody, they go, okay. And they turn around and they ask somebody else, or they figure it out themselves. No.
But how many times have you taken it personally? I have. When somebody's just told me no, I'm like, really? Why? Like, I want to know why. Why not? Well, if I'm doing this, why aren't you doing it? I want to know why you're not doing it. Why am I doing it? I'm just throwing that out there. I don't really feel that way.
I would rather hear a direct no than a beat around the bush. Give me excuses. Give me answers that don't even apply to the question to take me off the scent. I'd rather just hear no.
On the hunt. You are on the hunt.
Yes.
Taking you off the scent.
Take me off the scent. Yes.
That's funny.
Be direct. And it's not because we're afraid we're going to hurt people's feelings. I get it. I get it. I'm like, I get it. People pleaser over here. No, let me rephrase that. Recovering people pleaser over here. So to our viewers, I would love to hear what you feel about vulnerability, being vulnerable. What does it mean to you? And when have you shown up in a way that was vulnerable that you felt like it was successful? Say it in the comments. Make sure you follow us, like, and share with your friends.
You're so good at that. So good at that. See, we have our strengths, we have our weaknesses. And when you're really with friends, you can leverage that without feeling threatened. You get to do it.
So around vulnerability, Angie, there's this dilemma of what will people think? What comes up for you for that?
Yeah. Based on some of the things that I've shared, the places, the depths that I've gone, really, I don't really. Here's what I know. I'm going to answer your question. It just might be just follow the crushed breadcrumb trails.
The crushed breadcrumbs? Uh-huh.
Follow the breadcrumb trail. At around 13 years old, I had an awareness that my life is designed to inspire others. The experiences in my life that I had yet to even have, I just had this awareness that my calling in life is to inspire others through my experiences, what I've been through and where I'm at. Having said that, some of my experiences have been very, very painful, and I've shared nearly all of them and planning on, when I can, sharing all of them because I know that's my calling. At this point in my life, I'm less about what people think. It's to what people do. Now, I said it was going to be around, this breadcrumb trail. So it's back to what people do. And it's even getting less and less caring about what people do because they have no power over me. That's where I'm at currently in my life right now. Yeah. I mean, although I said earlier, it's about, people fear of leverage and people having superiority and all those things. I have felt those. I don't feel them like I used to. I don't. I just really don't, because no one has power over me or control over me, or except for if I give it to them. If I give that energy to someone, and if they're taking that opportunity to leverage my vulnerabilities, or if they want to feel superior, okay, feel superior. I don't care.
I
It's not a competition.
I can hear the viewers right now saying, "Okay, how did she get there? I want to know how to get there." So how do you believe you got there?
um, when you put things into perspective, when you almost lose your life, for real, what in the world is so important? What could be so important that I want to give up 1 minute of my life to something or someone that doesn't support me or serve me or make my life better? That's where I'm at. It's where I'm at. And even this is like an evolution. This is very much like a year ago, Becky. I remember being on the phone with you, sitting in the car. It was one of our marathons, and I was bawling because of people in my life who were taking advantage of me and where I was at, to where I'm at today, saying, no, I can walk away and not feel a thing about things that are said or things that are done. There's just the energy that goes to it. I'm not willing to put my energy into things that don't serve me.
Most people watching this, hopefully, have not had a near death experience like you did.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to go through that to feel like I can not put so much importance on what other people think.
Mm-hmm.
If and it's obviously you had the experience, so you can't not imagine it without it. So for someone who hasn't had that and is searching for a way to not worry about, because it can be paralyzing. Oh God, what will they think? I'm not going to put my business out there. I'm not going to take the risk. So what would you say to them that haven't had the near death experience? What would you say to them to help support them in overcoming that fear, that vulnerability of what will other people think?
You've seen that quote, what other people think of me is none of my business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we really know what other people think of us anyway.
That is so true. We guess, we imagine, we assume.
We make it up.
Yeah.
We all have a choice on how we respond to things. Whether you've been through an experience of I've been through, we've all been through something, and we made choices and we got through them. Draw on that experience as well.
So, Angie, I'm going to give an example.
Okay.
You had created a goal for yourself to create a certain amount of money. And one of the mechanisms that you used for that was to resell some of your clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that inspired this, in my experience of it, the successful Poshmark resale business that you created.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning, I remember hearing you say that there were some people that were judging you for selling clothes. How did you handle that judgment?
Oh, that's a good one. How did I handle that judgment? Well, first of all, nobody ever said anything to me to validate my feeling that people were judging me.
So you had no evidence? You just assumed.
I just made that up in my head.
Oh,
But no,
really?
to be honest, I had this fear that people would judge me. That, um, why is she selling clothes? It's not glamorous. It's not, I mean, first of all, I was selling a lot of my own things. They saw me digging through Goodwill bins. And then I had this like moment of joy of like, yeah, and I'm making bank doing it. I had no care in the world of what people thought about it. And then it became even more fun to also show people it doesn't matter what you do. If you enjoy it, have fun doing it, and you make money doing it, like, do you. That's part of that shift in energy, though. I don't care. That was something I made up in my own head that I felt people would judge me based on what I was doing.
That's the bottom line there. That's
Mm-hmm.
the lesson here, is
Mm-hmm.
that when vulnerability is almost like an illusion, like it's a creation that we created in our head.
Mm-hmm.
That's big.
Well, here's another side of it. if we are truly vulnerable by choice, how can that help others? When I do share my experiences, my hope is that someone else can see and feel. Maybe they're going through that and they can see how I've come through it. And I can inspire them that this is where I've been. Like, I know how you feel because I felt the same way. And here's how I moved through that. I rarely just put my crap out there just to like dump it and get a pity party. Maybe. I really don't think I do that often. And I mean, not to say I don't. And there's generally something in there that someone can say, oh man, I'm not the only one going through this. Because we're not going through all these experiences, what you shared earlier. Yeah, how many people on this are listening to this are carrying around these deep, dark secrets? They may not even remember, and it may come up for them later. And your story may help them think about how they're going to empty their heavy pockets.
Yeah. Thanks for
Okay,
sharing that.
so for you, Becky,
Yes.
how does the fear of showing up authentically hold you back?
Well, like you said, in the shares, and I started sharing because I feel like I've lost my mojo. I started sharing that in the beginning of the year, and kind of like what you said, I started sharing my story, and other people were like, yeah, that's how I feel too.
Here's what I hear when you say, I did this post about I lost my mojo. I'm just wondering why the dip that you throw.
Oh,
It's the dip. Why the dip in
that's a
the
good. So the energy is what you're feeling.
Yeah, you do this
the
and then you're like,
inflection.
you kind of like, I did this thing about my mojo.
Because
Was that because
I'm
it's
downplaying it. Like,
why?
don't notice me over here. Don't notice me over here.
Okay, that's real. And
Yeah.
why?
Because then people might use it against me later on. They might see me as weak. Dang, they might see me as weak. Instead of real or authentic or vulnerable, they might see me as weak.
Are you?
I'm not weak. I am not weak. I'm not weak. At times I am, and not weak in the sense of I'm a victim. It could be that I just get to figure out how to get through something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're not weak. We have weaknesses.
No, I'm a badass.
You are a badass. You are a badass. Absolutely. Side note, for 3 years now, I think it is, Becky, you've sent me that calendar for Christmas
Uh-huh.
or around Christmas time. I love my calendar. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And now this year, have you noticed that she put the little quizzes and everything on the back again? Last year, they weren't there.
That's why. Okay. So thank you for saying that, because I heard you say last year that you used the back of them as a Post-it note. And then this year I saw the quizzes and the word search and all that. And I'm like, oh, cool. I guess I didn't do it at all last year. I didn't do it last year because it wasn't there. Gosh, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I feel so smart.
Oh, it's so great. Now, here's what I want to throw out here. You brought the list, right? That you want to talk about vulnerability. I think it shifted. Did that list shift from when you originally wrote it?
When I originally wrote it, it says the topic is why vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. And now I can read that. Listen to my energy. Why vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. I feel like that's shifted for me, and I'm ready to go home. I'm already home. I'm ready. Number 2, we talked about the resistance around being vulnerable.
Yes, we did. What do you feel about that now?
I feel less resistant and more inviting to the vulnerable.
So, do you know what my word for this year? The word came up for me?
What?
Power.
Power.
Power. Stepping into my own power, stepping into being feeling empowered. So anything around power. And so for that is that being resistant to feeling vulnerable. For me, it's stepping into my own power.
Mm-hmm.
That's
it's like the opposite side of the coin. That's beautiful. That. Yeah.
Okay, number 3, the biggest fear of being vulnerable.
How do you feel about that now after this episode?
I'm not putting that energy where I used to put it about feeling concerned about people using it against me, leveraging and superiority. I don't have that as much as I used to. And it's a constant process. There may be things that'll come up, but overall, I feel that being vulnerable in an authentic way with a purpose is that is me stepping into my power, my destiny of where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, stapling on to that a purpose with purpose. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Number 4 was what will people think dilemma.
People will think no matter what. And also the story that we're creating in our own heads about what people will think. People may not even care, and they're not thinking about us at all.
You know what they're thinking about? They're thinking about themselves. They're wondering what other people are thinking about them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're worried about what people are thinking about us. They're worried about what...
It's this just big cycle.
We're overthinking it.
Yeah.
All right. And so number 5.
The freedom in being vulnerable. I think you said it earlier. Powerful. It's stepping into being powerful. And you can leverage that power of being vulnerable in supporting others in what was your mission statement?
That my mission statement is that to inspire others through my own life experiences.
That's like, you boil that down, being vulnerable equals powerful.
All right. I think we nailed it. How do you feel?
Vulnerable all the way. Let's be vulnerable together.
Great show.
I think it was a great show too. And I believe that people are going to walk away with accepting and embracing vulnerability as a superpower and not as a negative thing.
Leverage your vulnerabilities to step into your own power and support and influence others. See you next week.
See you next week.